All right, here we go. Kiana, let's talk. Let's get right into it. So you
Hey,
you do the fighting stuff, MMA, cage fighting, you train UFC. Um,
I
let
train
yeah,
UFC,
you
man.
train UFC, bro. It's really serious. Okay, so talk to me. How did that even start? How did you, um, as a girl, the female, decide you wanted to fight people?
I never decided. I was forced into it. This is like my favorite story and my most asked question. I have a mom who's like really cool, tough sports mom, and my dad, who I'm the youngest, and yeah, so very soft with me. And I was a very hypersensitive kid, like probably a little too hypersensitive. Like you could change your tone with me, and I was in shambles. And my mom was like, she grew up with like 4 or 5 brothers, so she's like, nope, not having it. Threw me in taekwondo. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I cried every day to practice on the way to practice, and she was like, I signed away like what is it? Like I signed I put you out you're stuck for it for a while, you know? So thankfully for the better, I'm glad she did that because her and my dad would go at it and he's like, well, like she doesn't like it, don't make her do it. And her mindset is very like, I'm not gonna let her quit every time something's hard, you know? And I thank God for that every single day because now I have that within myself. And so I stuck in it and over time I got a little decent at it. I started sparring and I realized like I really liked how that felt. And I ended up falling in love with it, and here we are.
So how okay,
I
so,
was 7 at the
right, so
time.
you were doing striking stuff. So how did you get into the grappling or jujitsu? How did that start?
Yeah, so as I was older and like telling my friends I did taekwondo didn't really feel cool anymore. This is when the UFC gyms used to be LA boxing, and that was cool at the time, the whole red and black gym and stuff. So my sister and I started at one of those. She was taking like the cardio kickboxing classes, and so I started with that too because like doing boxing felt cooler, you know, which is one
Right.
of my biggest regrets is not finishing my taekwondo black belt. That's something on the list I could go back and do one day. But at that time, when we were at the UFC gym just taking those classes and whatnot, there was a cage and jujitsu was happening in there. And that caught my attention. I was like, what's that? You know? So yeah, I started my jujitsu at a UFC gym and then that's when I really fell in love with it and wanted to like get into an actual like MMA gym.
So when you started rolling or doing jujitsu, how did that work out? Were there other women in there, or you were just with guys? You didn't care?
I was 14, and every once in a while there was another girl in there, but it was mainly with the guys. But I didn't really care. That's not something that really ever bothered me. Even as like a young girl, like I was always just open to playing with boys and girls. I was very tomboyish since a young age, so that didn't bother me. And then even being in taekwondo, like I was already used to being in a sport where I was outnumbered, so that's something that never intimidated me. So there were some women in there, but starting off with jujitsu and everything, I was comfortable that I was really bored at the beginning because it was just a whole lot of like I was only allowed to shrimp around the cage and stuff like that. But once I got into like actual like live rolling, like I've always loved learning. So realizing like, oh wow, like there's lots of levels to this, like that really caught my attention.
Now, do you still roll in a gi at all?
I do sometimes. Yeah, I actually recently just started doing gi again. It's not my favorite. It makes jujitsu feel a lot slower, but I do love the creativity behind gi. And I do think it is really good for practical life use. Like if I had to fight someone in a hoodie, I think it's really good to know.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So.
It's very humbling, right? You're just sitting there, I think you think you're out of something, all of a sudden just like, oh, you know.
Oh yeah, just getting thrown around in your pajamas. It feels like pajamas. Like yeah, it's not my favorite, but martial arts, you kind of got to get used to doing a lot of things you don't really like.
Right. So since you had a background with training with boys at a young age, do you have any advice maybe for people who didn't do that? Like how would a woman start training, whether they decided to go pro or they just wanted to train MMA for the lack of a better term? Like what are some like practical advice that you may have for someone who just wants to do this for whatever reason?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd say definitely having a lot of confidence. And ever since at a young age, like anytime, even nowadays, I can go to a new gym and go like an open sparring and just walk in by myself and be like the only girl in a gym of like 40 guys. And I see myself as an equal in there. I always see myself as like, I have every right to be in here just as much as you do, you know? And that also comes with I've been very, very blessed on my whole journey that I have always been very comfortable with teammates and coaches and like gyms and environments that really respect me. So that's another big one is some women encounter gyms, teammates, whatever that can make them uncomfortable. And that could really ruin things for for a female's whole perspective and never want to step foot on the mats again. So I think it's really good to be picky and make sure you're fully comfortable in your environment because it is a vulnerable sport and you want to feel safe and you want to feel attended to. So I think just be really picky and trust your gut. I think that's a really big one, even for young girls. It's hard when you're a young girl and you always just think like, oh, my coach or whoever higher above me is correct. Like, let me just obey. Oh, this is what he says. Like, no, like really learning to trust your gut, whether you're doing it for yourself or you have a daughter or someone younger into it, just really making sure you're comfortable at all times. And if you're not, then speak up.
Yeah, I think a woman's intuition is very powerful. I think you guys have
Yes.
something that we don't, you know. Sometimes it makes you sound crazy, but I think for the most part, like women are very intuitive creatures, and that helps. So you touched on something earlier. You said that you like to learn, you love learning. What are some things you're reading or things you're learning now outside of training?
Oh, that's fun. So when I'm in fight camp and stuff, I like to hold on, this is fun. We have a whole library. Let's go to it real quick.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do
I
it.
could flip my camera around. Um, I'm a big sucker for fiction, but then I also love a lot of like Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Oh, nice.
Um, Think Like a Monk was a really good one. Atomic Habits was a good one. Acres of Diamonds by Jensen Franklin, whatnot. I can go on and on about all the books that I really feel have impacted my journey
Yeah,
and my mindset. So it just depends what I'm in the mood for the day because sometimes I just want to like training and everything is so intense and I kind of just want to escape it so I'll just have fun against like a fiction book. But
yeah,
then sometimes if I go on a lot of walks with my dogs and whatnot and I like to have like a good something to listen to. I just recently listened to the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins and
yeah.
that was a really good one. I'm a huge fan of her now.
What are some things you
Uh,
learned from that, the let them theory?
Oh man, I could talk all day about this book. That was a really, really good one. And just how not everything is in your control. And that's very much a personality trait of mine that I have struggled with for a really long time is I could tend to be a perfectionist and I always like to need to know the next thing or be in control of outcomes and know that much in advance. And that's not always the case sometimes. Or even that comes down to other people's actions and how they act. And my thing is I'm like, it's the principle of things. If you like because you did this, it makes me feel like this. Like I'm very big on justification and not everyone thinks like that. Like humans are we just coexist barely. We don't always understand each other. So the let them theory really taught me like you can't be so controlling. You have to let people be them and then just decide how does that make you feel? Like how are you going to act from that now, you know? Am I going to reciprocate that same energy or whatever or am I just going to let that brush off? So that was a really good one. It's actually a book I'm not really big on like rereading or re-listening to things, but I think that's one I would definitely listen to again.
Yeah, I think it's for me, I'm not super smart, so I have to like listen to the book and read it. So whatever I'm reading, I try to
Mhm.
listen to it as well. I think the let them, I haven't read it, but I think that theory or that idea is so powerful because, like you said, you can't control how people think, how they feel, and you just gotta let them be, right? I think
Yeah, and
it
that's
sounds so
hard.
it sounds so simple, but it's so hard sometimes. Like, like you want to be, a good person, return your shopping cart. And you're like, how come this person can't do that? How come they can't give me one blink before they cut me over? Just give me one. I only want one. And at that time you're so bothered by it, but then you realize you can't be controlled
And
by it.
I'm a really confrontational person. Like I'm not in the sense of like arguing, but I'm just very, very good about articulating my thoughts and feelings and thinking like, oh, this is how I feel. I should always express it. And I realize sometimes like the energy's not worth it. You just have to let people be them sometime and let them learn their own lessons. I don't always have to be the teacher.
Right, yeah, I'm opinionated myself, and I get that. Like, there's like sometimes you just figure as you get older, you figure like what battles to fight. You don't need to fight every battle, right? And then even if you fight them,
Yeah.
it's okay not to win some of those things too, right? These are things that we learn as we get older. Okay, so during fight camp, like what would like a today look like for you? Because you're in fight camp, right? You have a fight coming up.
Yes.
So what would like a day like today or tomorrow look like for you? What are some things you can share of how hard or how easy actually some of this stuff is too? I think sometimes people get so caught up in it. It is hard, right? But I think some people don't realize that some of this stuff isn't as hard as it may seem, you know?
This is another really good question because I feel like, as far as all my fight camps, I feel this is the camp and the time in my life where I've matured the most as a professional athlete. And it's funny, I came across Misha Tate's Instagram recently, and it has completely blown my mind. Everything she talks and posts about is things that I've been struggling with or also thinking about. Old fight camps, like, I've never had a problem with work ethic. Like, if you told me to go do this, this, and this, and this today, I'll get it done. I don't care if I'm crawling by the end of the day. I will do it. But that's not always the case. I'm learning that intensity and 100% every single day is not mandatory. You need to show up every day at some point, whether it's physically, mentally, or even on an active rest day, but it doesn't need to be driving myself to the ground every single day. And especially another topic for women, we are not programmed the same as men, where we have different cycles and times of the month when our body is at a high and when it's at a low. So when I'm going through a phase where my body's going through it and ready to work a little slower, I can't train as intense as the men. And when I fight against that, my cortisol will raise, my water retention, my everything, you know? So it's really been interesting. So this fight camp, for example, yeah, Saturday and Sunday were really high output days for me. I had strength and conditioning, I had hard sparring. Today I had strength and conditioning again. And so now the rest of the day looks like active recovery. You know, I could feel it in my body today. I feel really, my muscle, I took a nap and my muscles felt really tingly upon getting up. And I've really learned to get intuitive with my body, listen to it. And there's times when it's like, okay, you're a little sore, like, don't be a little punk, just push through it. But then there's times when it's like, oh, this is CNS and like, this is nervous fatigue. This is a lot going on. Your body's waving a red flag saying, hey, I'm gonna get hurt if you don't take care of me. So I feel one of those days for myself. So I was like, okay, cool, let's pump the brakes today. I trained this morning, recovered for a little bit. Now in the evening, I'm gonna head to the gym, get some active recovery in, some mobility, some sauna, some stretching, some steps, some stuff like that. And then tomorrow, pick it back up again, kickboxing, jujitsu. So I'm learning when to have my output days, when to slow it down, when to pick it up and go hard. So yeah.
That's cool because that's also that's done with a schedule, right? That's like, hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But that's also done by feel, right? So you not only do you
Yes.
follow a schedule based on the day, but you also follow a schedule based on how you feel. So you're
Yes.
smarter, right? How did you kind of learn about that outside of reading? How did you learn to, feel what it feels like? I think some people, it's hard for them to be in touch with how they feel. Like, how did it all come together for you?
Well, this is not a paid ad, but you guys at Animal House, where you, Kyle, and Coach Chris were really the first ones to introduce me to all of this and talk to me about so much. And as I said before, I love learning. So I remember just at the gym, we would talk about certain few things, and I'd want to go home and deep dive into myself. And I think a lot of it has to do with social media and what you choose to have on your algorithms in
Yes.
your
Yeah.
feed. And I go through rabbit holes where, like, I want, like, right now my explore page is all about fascia. I'm learning all about fascia release right now, and I love visuals with it. Like, I would love to get a book on it, but I also, with like the power of social media, when you choose to use it for knowledge, there's so many cool videos where I'm understanding and seeing what fascia is like. Before this, I was really into anything about like the nervous system and whatnot and dietitian stuff. So just really like using social media to your advantage for the better. Books as well. I remember reading The Body Keeps Score was a
Oh
really
yeah,
good
that's a
one.
good one.
That was a really good one. I do a lot of yoga and meditating. So I think with my work life, being a preschool teacher and being like the prefrontal cortex for 14 kids all day, and my mind constantly being like this, and then
Yeah.
going straight to the training room and being like this, there's not a lot of moments I'm quiet and sit with myself, or at least it used to be like that versus now. having like more quiet moments with my body, whether I'm meditating or even just simply sitting in my house. I can be in my house all day and not have music on and just be really comfortable with just how do I feel today? Where am I feeling things? How do I move? What does it feel like when I do daily day-to-day activities, you know? So really just learning to sit with my body and really meditating has helped a lot.
Yeah,
That's something
I
that's
like the
fun.
meditation thing. I think it sounds hippie or whatever, but it's so good for you. I think people talk about now like everyone's having caffeine, having CBD, THC, nicotine, glutamine, all this stuff. Well, glutamine's fine, but what happens is and music, right? What happens is you're never
Yes.
comfortable sitting by yourself. Like you have to do that. Like that's another stimulus, whether you're doing caffeine,
Yep.
you're doing music you got to have some quiet to yourself. You got to be able to sit there and just have it nothing, right? And I don't think people do that enough. Oh, I'm cool. I don't do caffeine. I don't do THC. Yeah, but you have your headphones in all day. That's the same thing, right? You're not present with yourself, right?
Are you comfortable with your thoughts? Are you comfortable with the
Right.
way you feel in your body? Or yeah, that's something that's been really new for me and I'm realizing I am so comfortable in that sense. Like I love that I can like read a book or listen to a podcast or oh, breathing is another really big
Yeah.
one. Nerding out on breathing techniques and everything. So sometimes when I go for my it depends on the day. If I'm going for a walk first thing in the morning, it's no music for me and it's just
Good.
straight focusing on my breathing.
Yeah.
Me and Coach Chris actually just talked about this and doing like that whole box breathing method.
Yeah.
Focus, just trying to be, because I can very much be like that too. My brain being so much, I could wake up and just be on go, go, go mode. So I'm like, okay, on my walk. And then also, that's what I learned from the Think Like a Monk book, talking about like just really being attentive and slowing your day down and being present in the day to day moments. When I go on my walks, I try to look around. Is there anything new that I've never seen on this walk before? So just little things like that, and just helping with my attention span in that sense too. Just learning to slow down has been the biggest part of my journey. And as I'm learning to slow down is me starting to learn to listen to my body better.
That's
So
cool.
yeah.
I think there's something there with I think going on walks. I think so that's you don't count that as anything, right? It's just this is something that you do. It's not training. It's not recovery. It's just something that you do now.
It's definitely beneficial towards like weight cuts and whatnot. And I think a lot of people really underestimate what such a good workout walking is. In old fight camps, I used to think like I was running myself to the ground and
I got
thinking
an
like
assault bike. I
I
gotta go crazy. I gotta go crazy.
assault bike, I gotta run 6 miles
Right.
every other day, and my joints were screaming for help. And I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, I'm having such a hard time losing weight because I'm so inflamed and everything hurts. And now I'm in jujitsu and my knees are popping. And so realizing, like, something simple like a walk can still get your metabolism going, but also just be like calmer on the body. And then even better for the mind. Like, there anytime I'm moody, or I know there's something off, I'm like, I need to go take a walk about this. Like,
Yeah, that's good. No, that's good. So I feel like pretty in pretty short time you went from like the one of the younger fighters in the gym to maybe a little bit older now. Not like you're old, but a little bit older now. What has that transition been like for you? Do you feel like you're the same? Do you feel like you've kind of helped younger people now? Like what is that like?
in the physical or mental aspect.
All of it, like all of it. I mean, I think the physical you kind of covered because you're just smarter now, and I wish like people knew I like sharing that stuff like you kind of plugged us, but I think it's so important because like we're so taught because we have coaches. You're like, well, I'm just gonna see what coach says. Like, no, like coach doesn't tell you if you're tired. Like if you're literally tired, you tell yourself that. Like no one can tell you that you're
Yeah.
tired. Like, yeah, we have this program that we think is perfect and high, low days, this day, intensity, this that doesn't matter, right? Like we can all go through that same program and we can all feel it differently, right? So yeah, I think it's good that you kind of learn that from us.
Then yeah, that's really exciting then. But I love all these questions. This is so fun to reflect on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest like change from fighting, I made my debut at 18 years old. I've
Yeah.
been fighting since then, and I feel like, or at least you should be if you're growing as a person. I feel like we drastically change so much, like almost like every 2, 3 years. That's how my life has felt so far. I feel like I've lived so many different lives from 18 to now in both like my personal life and my fighting life. And the biggest thing I feel that it's helped now is trusting myself as an athlete more and not being afraid to say no. I don't have to jump to every person that wants to offer to hold mitts for me. And I don't have to do every single session. And like, just I have such a good team right now between coaches, where say if like Kyle for example, we could have strength and conditioning planned, it's in the schedule, but say Thursday or the rest of the week went way harder than usual, Friday rolls around and I'm like, hey man, my body's shut, like I really feel like I need more sleep than to get up and train at 6 a.m. tomorrow. He's like, okay, cool, rest up. And I'm like, you're not going to take me in the back and shoot me in the leg because I said not today. Like that has been a big game changer. Even my head MMA coach, this is where I go back to like a man who has respect for a woman's anatomy and understanding, like sometimes if I'm like, hey coach, it's that week, like I'm just having a rough time, he's like, okay, like you're still here, like cool, do what you got to do, are you okay? Just very attentive. And so yeah, just definitely maturing and learning that I don't have to say yes to everyone and everything, and like I'm allowed to make my own decisions. I'm a big
Yeah.
girl
Yeah.
now.
Are you sure? I
I
think,
don't need a coach breathing down my neck telling me, "Hey, do this, this, this." Is like having a team that allows me so much autonomy in myself
yeah.
has really made a difference in my career so far. Where I'm like, you know what? I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Some people don't want that. They don't want autonomy, but like, no, it's not about what you want. You actually need autonomy. You can't just have everyone tell you exactly what to eat, exactly when to drink water, exactly when to sleep. You need some of that. Like this, I think, how you evolve as a person or as an athlete. You have that autonomy. You learn through doing it yourself. Because you don't, if you always have someone telling you what to do, what's going to happen when that person's gone, those people are gone. You're never going to be able to
you
figure it
get dependent. You get really codependent. And I feel like that's the scary part with a lot of people, and athletes, is they become, and I've experienced that in the past. I have extremely been codependent on like coaches
out.
and whatnot. And that was really dangerous because there was times, for example, say I'd be at a jiu-jitsu tournament and I have one coach who's trying to coach all these different teammates. And if my coach couldn't be on my mat looking over me,
Yeah.
I'm having a panic attack. Like, what the fuck? I said, oh, I'm so sorry
It's
for
okay.
realizing like I forgot all jujitsu, blah blah blah. Versus like I have a coach now, for example. He's also a cop, so he has a full career outside of being a busy coach. My last fight, something came up last minute. He couldn't make it, and old me would have been like, I can't fight then.
Right.
Versus he was like, hey, like I'm sorry, I can't show up. I have these corners for you. You know what to do out there, right? You're comfortable. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I am. And once I got to the point and got to the fight, I did great. I won. I got a first round finish and I felt so comfortable as some of my corners. I realized like, yes, my coach gets me so far in the journey, but I'm the one getting in the cage. Just do everything you've been doing. So, yeah, I forgot what the question was where I went with that, but
No,
yes.
no, that's good. And no, I think it's good to be intuitive and learn for yourself. You can't always just depend on, because sometimes
Yes.
like I'm on the coaching side of things now. People they think that's lazy for us to do that, but I think it's I'm doing you a disservice if I tell you everything you need to do. Like there are things that you need to learn for yourself as an athlete. So I'm actually helping you, and I think sometimes
It's
like
been years of trial and error. It's so important to learn mistakes, and especially like growing up as an athlete, like being a fighter at 18 versus 26, my body and my mentality has changed so much. So I had to learn the wrong way so many times. And that's why now I'm like each day, each month has gone 1% better. Trial and error. And now I'm like, great. Well, now if people come to me for advice, I could be like, hey, I'm speaking from experience. I've tried everything in the books.
yeah, that's good. Okay, so you have a fight in a couple of weeks. What's the goal there, and then what's kind of next after that? Do you have like you want to win a certain belt? Do you want to win two titles? Like what are some of your maybe longer term goals with this fighting stuff?
So with that question, it's interesting because I have learned in the past that this sport is so unpredictable. It's really hard to have a set idea of I want to go. And I feel like every time I've set a goal for myself or looked forward to something and maybe it didn't fall through or whatever, I always feel like something better has even happened. And so, and also that comes with my confidence as a fighter. Like I'm very confident in myself, but sometimes certain goals, I realized I could put a security blanket over myself because I'm like, oh, that sounds scary, not realizing like, why are you scared to unlock your full potential, you know? So, I could easily be like, oh, I want to go to the UFC or I want to fight for this pro, but then this promotion could hit me up or this opportunity could hit me up and be 10 times better. So I think my thing also, as we went back to the very beginning, talking about I need to know my every next step, learning to just kind of
Let it
submit
be. Yeah.
and yeah, and let it be and be like, hey, I'm a woman of faith. I have a Christian background, so a lot of it is just praying and being like, hey God, like whatever you have planned in this journey for me, let me see it, understand why, and help prepare me for it. That's literally been my mindset these days. And it's gotten me to here now, and I'm
Yeah.
really happy about it.
I read something a while back. It was a question. It wasn't a rhetorical, but you know what the difference is between faith and optimism?
Tell me.
So optimism is this: you're just gonna believe all the good things. You're gonna believe this is gonna work out. Blah 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 blah. It's almost like it's fake, right? Like I believe in
Yeah.
good things, or faith is you just believe it's gonna work out no matter what. Like it may not
Yeah.
be the way you envisioned it, but it's gonna work out, right? So like,
I just saw this quote. It was from Lightning McQueen, actually.
is
And
that car? Is that
somebody,
cars? Is that cars?
cars, yes. And it was like somebody asked Lightning McQueen, like, how did you know you could do all this stuff, man? And he thought to himself, like, I just never thought I couldn't. And I was like,
Yeah.
write that down. So,
It's a real thing though. Like,
yeah,
like I was talking about with one of my other fighters, like, I'm gonna go do something. Let's say we both haven't done it before. We both haven't gone bowling. If I've never done it, why do I need to think I'm gonna suck? Like, why even give you that? I'm not saying it's not okay to suck. I'm just saying, like, why even put that thought in your head? Like, why would I think I'm gonna go do something? I'm gonna be shitty at it. I'm gonna think I'm gonna be good at it, you know? Like, I don't know. If you have no choice but to think either side, why not just think the good? You know?
I am so nerdy on this topic that your body is a and your brain is such a powerhouse of like it's the whole taboo saying of like the mind believes what you tell it, and I think there is so I can't really get into the scientific terms. It's something I got to read up on some more,
True.
but like your body really truly does believe what you tell it. If you continuously tell yourself I'm not good at this, I'm not good at this, I have anxiety, I have this, like your brain's gonna believe that, and it you know where I'm going with
Yeah,
this. I don't know
yeah,
how to put it correctly into words,
yeah.
but your body will really be like, okay, you're right, we don't. Versus I've had this mentality since I was a little kid that everything I do, I'm like, somebody else is good at it. Why couldn't
Yeah,
I be
why not
too?
me? What's the big deal? And I think like,
Yeah.
people see that as like corny or whatever. I'm like, that's on you. Like, why not believe that? Like, why not believe the good thing or the good outcome? Like, I have no reason to believe otherwise. Why
Like
believe
why doubt
that?
myself?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Why doubt yourself? You have
Until
no,
proven otherwise. And then even when I do try something I'm not too good at, my mentality has always been like, okay, well, I'm not good at right now, but give me
right.
time and I will
Yeah.
be. I've had this mentality since a little kid. I don't know where it came from, but I'm really proud of that one.
I think it's so important. Like people say, like mindset all the time. You have to have a good mindset. Like that's the good mindset. Is not, good mindset isn't thinking you're the best at everything. You're so tough. You're this. It's like no, like this the ability to like bounce back. You know?
Yeah, I feel like I've witnessed some fighters who are amazing in the training room and they have so much potential, but then when it comes time to perform and get in the cage, they tend to flop or not like fully be able to express themselves because once that pressure is put on,
Yeah.
suddenly the mindset goes down and all the doubt and fear makes its way in, and then your body goes in panic after that, and it's like, oh, we're nervous now, my breathing is messed up, now my nervous system feels this way, versus really just, as we were saying, like just having full confidence in everything you do. Even when I'm wrong or not sure what I'm doing, I have this whole like that fake it till you make it attitude.
Yeah, I think
So,
I think the problem with the actual fight itself is, let's say you had a 12-week camp. All your 11 weeks are the same no matter what. And all of a sudden, fight week goes, you drastically change your whole schedule. I mean, yeah, I think fight week, things need to be a little bit different, but I think you want to try to keep the routine as similar as possible in the fact that you're used to that routine. Because all of a sudden, you go from 11 weeks of doing the same old routine-ish, and the fight week's completely different. I think people just kind of freak out whether you rested too much, you're too depleted. But I think as much as you can, try to keep it the same. And I think that helps you with your mentals. So I think having a routine is very important.
some of my favorite quotes I've heard is I remember one time, I don't remember who, somebody a long, long time ago told me a fight is just a glorified sparring match, you
Yeah.
know? That is what I tell myself before every fight. That is literally one of my last thoughts when I'm getting in the cage and that door shuts and I'm like, all right, Kiana, same thing you do in the gym. You just got eyes on you, but like this is your moment, you know? And then another one, it was a little story, and I think it's by GSP. I'm not too sure, but they talked about like, okay, you get like a wooden plank, a 2x4, whatever. You put it on the floor, you walk across it. Cool, no problem. You get that same wooden plank, you put it up on a building, walk across it. What changes? The environment, the pressure. But it's still the same wooden plank you knew how to walk across the first time. So whether you're going to let that get to you or not is up to you and your mindset. So that's also one of my favorite ones where I just tell myself, I'm like, same cage, same this and that. What's changing? The environment, different person, but you spar with somebody new almost every week. So what's different now? There's pressure on you, and that's okay. I love pressure.
No,
Pressure is a
yeah,
privilege.
I haven't heard that one. That's just such a good one. It's true. Like the 2x4 on the ground is right here. It's easy, right? But the 2x4 up there is a little bit different, right? But it's just the
Yeah.
right? As long as you're able to control that, I think it can really help. Okay, so you're not, so I guess kind of now you pretty much mentioned this. You're not attached to the outcome. You're just doing the process. I mean, what does that mean? Like, do you like, not that you don't care to win or lose, but like, talk more about that. Are you like, how do you measure what doing well means? Like, how do you measure that in something like MMA?
Yeah, so this is where I think another book that had a really big impact me and my mindset was How to Die by Seneca. And it talks about that whole Latin saying memento mori, memento vir, remember to die. Or, oh, I'm flopping it. What is it? You remember you must live something about not being afraid of death because like you must live life, you know? So I've had fights in the past where when I was younger and put so much pressure on winning. And I think a really big thing that shifted gears for me too was back in I think it was like 2020. I was on like a 6 fight win streak. My whole identity of myself at the time was being a fighter. And this is when COVID hit. This is when I got my first loss. I got my first and it was a pretty nasty loss. It was my first loss. It was my first injury. And everything, and I couldn't train for a while, and also on top of COVID, like there was just gyms
Right.
were shutting down.
Yeah.
I lost myself so bad that year. That year I really mentally hit rock bottom, and I realized like, oh my god, outside of my identity of a fighter, I don't know myself that well. Who am I when I'm not Keana Cub Montenegro?
Mhm.
Well, how am I as a friend, a person, a teacher, a person sitting in my house by myself? So that year changed a lot for me, and I feel like I had to do a lot of soul searching. And then on top of all the books and everything I've read, and like just now realize and going into those fights back then, I put so much pressure on myself. And like that loss sucked. It really sucked. But then I was like, okay, I'm still alive. I'm still here. My family still loves me. My team is still proud of me. Like it goes on, and if anything, I feel like I got so much better after that first loss, and then I go on a winning streak, and then it happens again, and guess what? You just learn from it. I feel like I've learned more from my losses ever than from my wins. Does that mean I want to keep losing? No, but
Right.
I know it's not the end of the world, and my best fights have been the ones where I've had fun. My pro debut, I literally in one of my videos, in an interview, I said like three, four times, that was so much fun. And I came out that fight bloody, stitches, everything. Like it did not look like it was fun, but I got to express and show so much of what I learned in my training camp. I really followed through in the fight and for so many certain moments. And so to me, it's just having fun. Like as much fun as you can have while fist fighting another person,
Yeah.
having fun, making most of it. I see martial art as such a form of expression. It's the biggest form of expression for me. For me, fighting is what I'm sure dancing feels like to others. And so when I get to go in there and do, even if it's the smallest move, I remember I drilled over and over and over for a month straight. I'm like, yes, I finally got to do that. That paid off.
Yeah.
So just really having fun and enjoying the process and being in the moment with fights. I feel like, and also even fight camp. I used to dread fight camp and look at it as such like a long, gruesome, like it's hard, definitely. But I love the person I am during fight camp.
Yeah.
So just finding joy in every little part of it, even in weight cuts, even in training and this and that. I'm like, wow, how blessed am I to have resources to feed myself and prepare all my meals and eat healthy? How blessed am I to go to drive to a gym every day? How blessed am I to have gear to train with? So just really romanticizing the journey has helped a lot. Once again, I kind of forgot what the question was,
No, it's
but
good.
yeah.
It reminded me of this book I read by Dr. Stuart Brown. He studied play. And the
Okay.
difference between like the elite athletes and the regular athletes and the mediocre ones was that those guys saw it as work, whereas like the top ones just saw it as play. Like
Yeah.
they use golf examples. Like some of the golfers are like, man, how's Tiger? This was Tiger Woods at his peak. How's Tiger Woods so good? Oh, I saw him doing that. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it. Whereas like Tiger was like, no, I'm just gonna play right here. I'm gonna see if I can make this shot from this angle because it was a game for him. He was playing golf, right? It's a little bit different with fighting because you're fighting, but like people forget that like you're playing football, you're playing baseball, you're playing whatever sport you're doing, right? And that's what made those guys better. They were just playing. It was a version of play. They were trying to figure out those problems through play. Like so I think you do it too with fighting. Like you're not trying to like, all right, I'm gonna try to just nail this guy. I'm gonna see if I can like play with him, juke him a little bit, and then throw a punch, right? I think like
Those are some of my best days. I've talked about this with my teammates, and we have days where like Sunday is a really intense sparring day. Wednesday is also a sparring day, but it's more like less percentage, less intensity, and that's a day where it's like, hey, really focus on being loose, move, try different things that you wouldn't typically try. And it's a lot more. I always say I have so much fun on those days because I'm trying different kicks, I'm trying different movements, I'm trying stuff, and the risk and reward is really nothing crazy. Like if it worked, cool, noted, put that in my back pocket. If it didn't, okay, I'll try that again like two partners later, like So, on those days is a little more of like a play day, I guess. And I feel like that's one of my best days because I'm really just like putting less pressure on myself for an outcome and more like, hey, let's go in this open-minded and see what we unlock.
yeah, I think it's good. Like you said earlier, like making everything fun. I don't think people enough do that. Like, you know, where I come, my background is like fitness and strength and conditioning. And people would say like, you can't have fun in there. I'm like, yeah, I do pretty
I have a blast.
I have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, it's like maybe not fun in the way the other person defines it, but it's fun. Like if you make the thing that's hard or a struggle for most people, make it fun, they're gonna want to do it more. If it's always like, oh fuck the assault bike, if you go into that mindset, oh crap, it's the assault bike again, you're never gonna have fun with it. You're never gonna get results. We're like, all right, let's have fun with it, right? Let's see who can get 6 calories faster or whatever, right? I think if you try to make it fun or competitive, I think you get a lot more out of it. I think that's like a old school mindset where you can't have fun. But even as something as
Yeah.
serious as fighting, like it's why can't you have fun with it? Like why can't you throw a punch, right? You can't have fun with it, right? Like I think you need to have fun
Yeah.
everything that you do, and if you you know, I'm 40 and where I do jujitsu, I'm the younger guy. And even with those older guys, you can tell they're younger in a lot of ways because they have fun with it, right? They try to make things fun. That's one thing I realized as I've gotten older is like the people who seem younger or have a more youthful spirit is because they just have fun with it. And And I know I'm on a crazy end because I don't take anything that seriously unless I'm dying. Like well, I probably won't take
There's
it.
no need
And
to.
even if,
I
if I
really,
even if I'm dying, I'm dying. Like I let it go. I
you,
can't be attached to that outcome. It is what it is. You just gotta have fun as much as
yes.
you can. I think it sounds crazy, and I know I've kind of always been this way. I remember a story I have is back in college was like I got done with the midterm or the final really quick, and one of my classmates goes, "Man, you must have done really well. You seem stress free, and you got it done quick." I'm like, "No, not at all. I have no idea. I just wanted to get it done. I'm not attached to it. Like,
Yeah.
I fail. Like, I'll take it another semester, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. I think people get so caught up in these little stressors that are so insignificant.
Letting moments
Like,
define them
yeah, it's
and
crazy. Like,
outcomes define them.
well, you
I
okay?
love the topic
Yeah,
of the adding fun because my fight camps, like back in the day, I used to think fight camp was like time to go in that dark place and blah
right,
blah blah and not talk to my friends and family and lock myself in my room and like I was a monster to myself and I'm like, okay, props for younger me for learning to like dive deep like that. But me now, like, okay, I had a day a couple weeks ago. It was gonna be like an active rest day. I threw on my light up rollerblades and I went skating along the coast at the beach. I killed like 4 miles. It was such a crazy workout. I was so sore. But oh my God, I had so much fun and I had a great workout. So it's just doing things like that now. Like if I want to buy a fun new little outfit for training, if I want to get new gloves, if I want to add this, just like I'm very big on like just little things that make me happy and incorporating that into my training life. Like when I'm dieting or cutting, oh my God, like I'm very big on trinkets and like bowls and plates and this and that. So when I'm cutting or dieting this and that, buy myself a new this and that and just makes things fun.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm eating chicken and rice again, but guess what? My plate looks like a cow. Like, great.
I cut up little hearts or whatever. All right. So, do you have like a cheat meal you're looking forward to if you do those things?
Um, a cheat meal at a camp. I don't know. I go through this phase where right now, like the diet and everything is so clean, and I realize how happy my body is and agrees
Yeah.
with me, and it's so nice to not go to sleep or wake up feeling bloated or whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
That's good.
usually
Yeah.
I think my body is really learning. I think I've had camps in the past where like I feel like most fighters can relate, like when you're cutting and all that, is suddenly when you get all like the food stuff on your algorithm, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I haven't felt that this camp.
Yeah.
And I've been in it for a while now, and there's no cravings or no nothing that's really like standing out to me that I'm like, okay, maybe I miss like a little sweeter coffee or whatever,
Yeah.
but I think I just remind myself like everything you're gonna want, you crave will be there the rest of your life. Like
It is.
how
Yeah.
how how bad I love the discipline of camp of how much can I really discipline myself for the next 5 6 weeks. So I'm doing good on that aspect right now, and I think because I stopped looking, a big thing I've explained to a lot of, oh, this is a whole nother topic, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
Let's do it.
rambling.
Let's dive into it. We got
A
some time.
whole a really big topic I have spoke to some female fighters about recently when it comes to dieting and losing weight and getting fit, whatever your goal is, whether you're trying to bulk, you're trying to lose weight, a really big perspective shift I had was you cannot bully yourself into change. Yes, you can have the moments where, like, I know some people that talk works for themselves, but being like, oh, like, I'm already fat, I don't need to eat that, blah, 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 or I'm skin and bones, I don't, blah, blah, blah. However, people talk to themselves, that works for you, great. Me personally, it only led to worse feelings and worse habits and bouncing back and whatnot. Versus now, I tell myself, like, okay, I make these decisions because I love myself. I am going to go on this diet, work out, this and that, not because I hate the way I look or I hate what the scale says, but because I love myself. And this is how I would treat somebody I love. If I was to switch bodies with somebody who I love dearly for a day, how would I treat that body? How would I feed it? What would I take care of it with? Blah, 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 blah. Why not do that for yourself? So I've had a really good talk with a lot of friends about that lately. And I'm like, you can't bully, you can, but It was
Your body
a
keeps the score. Your
podcast.
body keeps the score, so it's going to take it a certain way, right?
Yes, shame. If
Yeah.
you know the whole Hawkins chart, level of
Yeah.
emotions and chart,
Yeah.
shame is at the lowest level of the list. And I listened to a podcast, which is, I don't remember what it's called, by Renee Brown, and it talked all about the topic of guilt and shame and how it really makes your body react. And so when people are trying to diet and like you're already uncomfortable in your body, but now when you're mentally uncomfortable, you're making everything so that's why so many people fall for these fad diets and only land on it for a few weeks because you can only hate yourself so much for a few weeks before
Right.
you're like, okay, I need a dopamine hit. I need to eat this to make myself feel good rather than making the good habits already feel like the dopamine hit. That's another topic I don't think people explore enough is really how dopamine and oxytocin and all that can really affect your day to day life. So many people chase cheap dopamine.
Right. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's because mostly it's all around us, right? I
Oh,
like
yeah.
I like the point you made about like what you eat, how like how what you eat is important, but how your body takes or how your mindset going into it helps. I think I train a lot of overweight people and they'll have a cheat meal like, oh man, I'm gonna feel this tomorrow, I'm gonna be all fat again. I'm like, if you eat it that way, yeah, I know there's that thermodynamics, it's still calories, but if you eat your food that way, your body's gonna take it a certain way. Versus like eating a cheat meal, hey man, I worked hard this week, I'm gonna eat it, I'm gonna enjoy it. It is,
Yes.
I think that's it.
I've learned so much on romanticizing your food journey. Like my thing is I am so blessed enough that like I work from home or near home that I have the liberty to cook every meal of my day. And I know the difference. I know not everyone's schedule works for that and sometimes it is easier to grab and go. But when I've really learned to slow down my nervous system and romanticize making my meals, like when I serve myself, I make it look so pretty on the plate. I add my little garnishes. Like, am I gonna taste those four little cilantro leaves? Maybe, but does it look pretty and make me feel good? Yeah. So I really learned to slow down and and romanticize my like how I take care of myself when I do things like that. So when it comes to eating habits, I realize like, okay, once in a while, yeah, you want to grab something on the go that works. But when I take it's more of a dopamine hit when I went through the process of taking an extra 30 minutes to cook my dinner, plate it, sit down, eat it, and know, wow, I prepared this about time into it, and now I get to enjoy it. That's something that's helped me a lot and I take a lot of pride in, and that makes me happy and enjoy this journey where I'm like, okay, wow, beautiful. I had the funds to go to the store, buy great groceries, cook it for myself in my home, sit at this table, beautiful. So really just being grateful for every moment can help a lot
And it's
versus
it's still it's still dopamine, but it's still cool because you take a picture of that food and they're like, "Damn, where'd you get that at? Who made that?" You're like, "I did." You're like, "There."
like me.
So it's still, I mean, it's a
Casa
different
de
version of
Cub.
it, but it's like it's just cool to be able to do that for yourself. I think it's cool. I like what you said about if you're like borrowing your body for someone you care about, like would you be feeding it, a double double every day and pounding all this caffeine, you would treat it differently, right? So I think that's a
Yeah, I tell myself I have moments where I've this sport, like unfortunately, like I hope it doesn't steer anyone away from it, but being in a sport where my life has revolved around the scale since 7 years old has caused I had some really bad years of eating disorders. It got really bad for a while and it just took me to such a dark place, and like I was a really young girl and I was bulimic and go like treating myself in such harsh ways, and it got really bad to where like my family caught on what I was doing and they were just baffled like why, and I was just being younger and not having the resources and help and understanding going through PMS and puberty and your body changing and gaining weight and this and that, and just thinking like, oh my God, how do I shed this weight? That was a really scary journey, and I wish I had an older girl to reach out and help me and explain all these things to me. And the internet wasn't like super big for I didn't have chat GBT, blah, 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 blah. So I was just spiraling by myself and creating so many unhealthy habits within myself. And so versus now, I have certain days where, like, as we talked about intuition, like I had a day recently where I was just output, output, output. I maybe stacked like 4 or 5 high output days in a row. And there was one day I was just hungry. I felt like I could eat a whole horse, and I definitely like I allowed myself to just eat that. Like everything's still healthy, but just a little more, maybe half a cup more of rice, a little more chicken, a little more this. And by the end of the day, old me would have been like, "Oh my God, I ate so much today. What am I gonna do?" Blah 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 blah. And then the next day I performed at strength conditioning, like one of my best days. And I was like, okay, my body told me, hey, we're stressed out, we're hungry,
Right,
glycogen's low, we need carbs. Also learning about like your body when you're craving sugar or sweets or caffeine or whatever, what's the underlying thing it's really
right.
craving? Are you low in glycogen? Are you low in this and that? So really learning, just getting intuitive with myself helped a lot, and being like, okay, like we don't really want chocolate. We need a little more carbs in our system. We need, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, it's crazy that like as, if you ignore these signals from your body's never going to know what it's craving, right? But now if you accept these signals and you do it, right? It's like if you know, I think it's so important to just understand that. I know it takes time, but I think like
Yeah.
you have to be able to like if you're because now you're going to have some females or even male athletes who look up to you, and these are things that you know it's your turn to kind of pass that down, right? So it's like it's so important to tell people like, hey, I can't give you the answers. Like, I'll give you some examples. These are things that that you need to do, right? So
Yeah, I've had a handful of little girls already reach out to me. And it's funny, it's like little girls
so
I've met
cool.
once or twice. I'll never say names, but like I've had a few little girls message me, and they're maybe about like between the ages of 11 to 13, and talk to me about stress, about cutting weight for a tournament. And I'm like, baby girl, just go up the next weight class. Like you are too young, unless it's like 1, 2 pounds. Okay, have an adult guide you in the sauna, maybe,
Yeah,
or like this. But as your body's going through that transitional phase, it's okay to go up a weight class. You're
yeah,
growing. Your body's changing. Like so that's something I really really look forward to being able to pass on to the next generation of like girls or youth athletes or anyone really who needs to know. Men sometimes don't always have the resources too. So
yeah.
just I learned the hard way so much.
I know, like for us, you know, at the gym, we keep a light atmosphere. We have fun,
Yeah.
talk crap, but it's always like it's joking, but it's a safe space. You guys can talk, and I think
Yeah.
we don't have enough of that sometimes, you know, or people are afraid to speak up. And I think like having these places where you're vulnerable, whether it's the gym or jujitsu or whatever. I think I think that's why I think like people think it's all about the training, but no, I think when you're in those places, those are the people who are less judgmental because they've been in your shoes and they understand. So like people need to go to jujitsu or a good gym where they can kind of have someone to talk about. Yeah, you can chat GPT this all you want, but I think you need to talk to someone who's gone through it, right? I think it really helps.
That's another thing we've talked about as maturing and learning to say no. I've throughout the sport, if I showed you my DM requests and all the noodle heads that are giving me unwanted opinions, this is why I don't even bother. I'm not gonna say it's a why, but why I'm not really huge on posting too many training videos or whatnot. You have dude who's living in his mom's basement talking
Ah,
about you need to do this better. I don't understand why this and that, blah blah blah. Like, oh my gosh, the controversy when I was posting that like I was doing ice baths and stuff, and like, women don't really need to blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, then don't take an ice bath. Like
yeah, yeah. You don't need to take one.
so
I need it, right? I think like people miss.
yeah.
I read research, so I have like one foot on the hippie, you know, spiritual side. I have one foot on the science side, and I think
Yes.
like people need to understand that I've read a lot of research and there's no research that's 100% conclusive that this doesn't work. Whatever that this is. There's not like when you did that research with ice baths that everyone didn't recover. Like, you know, there's always going to be one outlier, you know, who's to say that's not you, right? You know,
Yeah. I'm just
and
so
no
big
one
on,
knows
hey,
how
how did
you
it make
feel, how
me?
your body's taking it, right?
Yep.
Those those nine chicks who did it, their nine bodies took it a certain way. Like your body didn't, you know, or
My
mine
body liked
doesn't
it.
take it
I'm
away.
gonna
I
keep
like it. I
doing
like
it.
how it feels, you know.
Don't do it to your body
Yeah,
then.
don't do it to your body. What's the big deal? Yeah, I think it's so funny when you at least you know it's good for you. You're at that stage in your career where people just say stuff. It's like, who are these people? Like, and the thing is, you got to remember is like, what's that quote? It's like, don't take criticism for someone you wouldn't take advice from. So like, yeah, that is advice.
Yes.
When people talk crap, cool. Like, oh, look at the little guy lifting weights. I'm like, cool. More for you then. Cool. Like, you're not the little guy. Like, does it
Yeah.
feel better, dude? I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
I always just like, I hope you feel better from that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, great. Did you feel cool and go flex in the mirror after you
Yeah.
commented on my picture?
Yeah,
Like,
do you,
women don't belong in MMA.
yeah,
Like,
oh my God, do you
awesome.
feel so good now, dude? Do you glad you
Yeah.
got it off
So
your
really
chest,
just
man? Were you just holding that in so tightly?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just so funny that people are the way they are, and like good thing it never gets to, and it shouldn't get to any of us. It's just funny how
Yeah.
people need to have yeah, especially with the girls. I always see. I'm like, dude,
When you
who is this guy?
show
Who
good
are you?
habits for yourself, it brings out a lot of projection in other people, I've noticed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, just because you hate yourself, like I don't have to feel that way about myself. Like I my one of my like you were saying, one of my favorite things is like if somebody lashes out on me, I'm like, you know what? I hope you heal from what makes you feel like
Yeah,
that.
help
Like,
you feel better. Does that make you feel good? And some
yeah,
people
go
say
touch
because they're
some
like,
grass,
fuck. They're like,
man.
oh crap, like
Yeah, go
the
eat a
old,
banana, touch some grass, put your toes in the sand.
yeah, yeah. It's the old adage, like you can go back at them, but that doesn't do anything for you or for them. But if
No.
you kill them with kindness, they're like, crap, they got me, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not being corny. I'm like, all right, go ahead and I really hope you feel good, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a couple more weeks of fight camp. Um, So what does that look like? Like, do you have like double days? I know you talked more about being intuitive, but do you skill schedule out like, hey, Wednesday's my hard day, Thursday's my easy day, Friday's me day, and I take care of my hair and do my nails. Do you have anything like that?
I literally do that. I'm obsessed because that's another thing for me being a woman in a male dominant sport is for years I feel like I had a really hard time tapping into like my femininity. And I'm like, how do I bring more whimsy to my life? Because, like, yes, I am a tomboy and I do this, but also deep down, I am a girly girl. And I feel most connected with myself when I am taking care of myself. So I'm like, okay, I spend most days on the week getting punched in the face by people's dirty gloves and blah, 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 blah. So I do heavily, like, on the maybe like a Friday evening. It really just depends. Like, sometimes on a day I might have planned to recover. If I want to train, I'll go train. But I do make sure I have a day in fight camp. Like, I try to, like, do a face mask, go get my nails done, go do a hair mask, like just really pouring time in myself before my bedtime routine has been a big one because I'm like, okay, I go fight and I'm doing this and that. I have the girliest room. My room is like a little princess fairy garden, and I have such a girly house and girly room. So just learning to like, I feel like I'm a knight who comes home and drops her sword and takes off her armor. And I'm like, how do I stay in touch and tune with myself so that I don't feel like this all the time? Like knowing when to turn it off and on. So, like I said, my house, I've really curated this into being like my safe space. It feels like a charging port when I'm home. I have books everywhere because no matter where I'm sitting, I might want to pick up a book and read and journal. So I do have my days in camp where it's a recovery day, it's a me day. I'll go get my nails done. I'll go do cryotherapy. I'll go do a float tank. I'll go do something. And then I do have my days where I'm like, hey, today's going to really suck. And we are all gas, no breaks today, And it's just part of it.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think women and men especially need to have those days where they take care of themselves. I think it's fine, it's normal, and you can dance, you can, I like to go through all the emotions in a day and a week if I can, where I'm laughing. It's okay to have anger. I think people say I don't get angry, but it's okay to have it. You just gotta let it out, let it out. It's okay to have anger. It's okay to go through those emotions. I'll watch something. I'm like, oh man, I'm crying. Let it go,
I
man.
think
Okay.
people don't understand how much I cry.
Yeah, it's
And
okay.
whether
Hey.
that's from happiness or sadness, like I've done this ever since I was little. I could have a day at training and it could be really rough, but I've always like oh, this is my mom's favorite. I would like be in class and I always have this certain look when you could tell I'm gonna cry, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do it in front of everyone.
Ah.
And the second we would get to the car, I would just let it all out. But I have always, and I've, like I said, for this all started because I'm a very, very emotional, intuitive girl. I'm a high level empath. I feel everything, both a blessing and a curse. So even
Yeah.
to these days now, I can have a certain day where fight camps go in a certain way, and I might feel a little frustrated with myself, and I could have a silent ride home and shed a few tears, but I'm like, it's okay. We have tomorrow. We can shake it off. So I think so many people like think like, oh, you got to be a fighter and be numb to your emotions, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, I'm the most emotional fighter you'll ever
Yeah,
meet,
I mean, my
and
background
I
is
love it.
football, but I think it's like the same thing. Like when you have these warrior type athletics, it's physical. You're expected to be a certain way. You have to listen to crazy music. When once you learn, hopefully I can pass this down to other people. Once you learn at a younger age, it's not like that. Just because your sport requires violence doesn't mean you need to be like that, right? I like now I listen to like Shania Twain and jam out. I don't listen to like this
Yeah.
Lincoln Park. I don't need that. Like I want to freaking, like you said it earlier, it's a dance, right? If I feel more like at the dance, it's a lot easier. It's a lot more fun. It's not like, oh, you know?
I love this topic because I used to think in fight camp, I'm like, I gotta pull up to practice and have David Goggins yelling at me
Right,
on
right,
the
right,
other
right.
end and blah blah blah. Versus now, I'm just jamming out, listening to like some Britney Spears or
Yeah.
something, you know. And I'm like, you literally all know I'm on my way to sparring, listening to Ariana Grande, like just adding more whimsy in my day, and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like I feel
yeah.
like it's helped with my nervous system and stress levels so much because I'm like. I used to stress myself out back in the
Yeah, but
day.
why would you, my thing is like why now you realize it's like why would you stress yourself out more to put yourself you're going to a stressful situation anyways. Why would you put more stress on top of that? That doesn't make any sense. You
Yeah,
need
I
something that's
literally listen
opposite
to
of that. You need something opposite. You need to dance or something calm because you're going in that state with more. Then you're all wound up. Why are you so stiff when you punch? Well, you just listened to this. Now you're all amped up, right? So
the other day I was baffled because I was really caught up in like a just like a fun fiction audiobook recently, and it's like a little like love story blah 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 fun twist murder mystery blah blah blah, and I was really hooked on this book for a while, and I got to a certain point where it was like one of those books like I could not put it down, and I had the audiobook version of it, so I was listening to it on the way to practice. Old me would have been like, oh my god, no, you have to lock it on the way, and it just I caught myself in that moment. I was like, wow, we've came a long ways. Like we're calm enough to listen to an audiobook on the way to practice. Like cool, great, love that.
I think you need to share. And I mean, like you, I think you and I have something similar. We have a little bit of a drive to get home, and I think that's like the biggest thing because now you have time to like get yourself ready, and then you also have time to be calm. I think it's like it's nice having that, 20, 30 minute drive sometimes to get
I
yourself.
have so much intention in every part of my day. My drives home from practice, no music, because
Yep.
I have a really hard time coming down from that adrenaline sometime.
Yeah.
So I keep my shout out brain Forza. I keep my magnesium in the car, and from when I leave practice to I have about a 30-45 minute drive home every day depending on which gym I'm training at. Both my gyms are fairly far,
Yeah.
and my drive home from practice is my like, you know what? We can cruise in the slow lane, sip our magnesium and sit in silence and maybe think about what we want to
Yeah.
reflect on practice or maybe just don't.
Yeah.
Maybe just look at the moon and pay attention to the road depending what I'm feeling that day. But turning my getting home routine and winding down because sleep is so important. So, going from fighting and swinging and music playing in the gym to having to get home and get proper rest, I've learned like, okay, it's time to let's start simmering down.
I'll send you a playlist that I use sometimes. It's just a frequency. So you're just hearing
I
like sounds.
sleepless.
It just does this, and you're like, this is great. Like it's nice to have that.
Oh yeah.
So
Me
it's.
and Chris were just talking about this. I
I think
turn
I
on
think
blended
I think I got it from
people.
Chris. Like he's like, did you know certain frequency 741 megahertz does this? I'm like, no, give it to me. Give me that. I want that.
I listen to the high frequencies. I can't handle the low frequencies. Have you
Yeah.
ever done a sound bath?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sound bath helped me learn a lot about myself.
Mm.
So I go to sleep listening to binaural beats or hertz frequencies. I am now a mouth tape sleeper.
Oh,
Weighted blanket, full shebang, AC on, stuffed animals everywhere. Like I do not play about my sleep routine.
I think it's good. I
That's
think
one thing about me. I can handle like okay, in fight camp, if I'm hungry, if I'm whatever, that's fine. I'm not gonna start being like moody, but if I'm sleepy, I am a whole different person. I am emotional when I'm tired.
yeah,
So I've
I think
gotten
that's like the one thing you can't cheat. You got to sleep.
yeah.
What is it? We'll leave with this, but it's your body can go whatever weeks, maybe a month without food, and then maybe like 10 days without water. Maybe a couple of days without sleep and only a couple of minutes without breathing. So you gotta dial in your breathing, dial in your sleep, your hydration and then your nutrition. So I think like the breathing and the
Oh, I
sleep,
love that.
the breathing and sleep is the most important. You can only go a couple minutes without breathing. And yeah,
Yeah.
we're all breathing, but you know this. You train. People just breathe not good because you're
Yeah.
at least for me, I'm rolling with somebody. I'm like, "Oh, this guy can't breathe. I got him. Like I might not have the most skill. I just know by the way he's breathing, I'm gonna get him eventually. You know. So I think
I think that's like, I'm not gonna say too much about this one, but I think that's one of my favorite secret sauces I've learned in fight camp is when you really master your breath because from the moment you're born to the moment you die, what's the one thing that stays the same? Like, your features change, all this changes. Your breath is what you have from beginning to end. I think you or Chris, one of you have told
like
me this,
Chris.
and that it sounds very Chrisish. And that has changed so much for me. So and even with like my littles in the preschool, they know one of my favorite quotes every day is smell the flowers, blow out the candles. Because when
Oh,
a kid
nice.
is in a, oh yeah, when little kids are in the middle of like they just tripped and fell and now they're crying and hyperventilating and they can't control themselves and they're trying to talk to me and they're blubbering. I'm like, hey buddy, smell the flowers, blow out the candles. Let's do that 3 times. Now let's talk about why you're crying. So I'm really big on breath work for myself and anyone. My first thing is always like, hey, let's take a deep breath.
Yeah, all the everyone we work with, it's always breathing now. Like thanks for Chris. We're always doing that.
Oh yeah, I've
Um,
done home starfished on my bed doing
right.
Wim Hof breathing methods. Like I
Yeah,
am in such a hippie era of my life,
I
but
don't
I
always
love
do a
it.
full, 20 breaths, whatever, but I'll do three, I'll do five. I'm doing something. Let's leave with this. I got my kiddo coming home here. What is like one piece of advice or maybe a book that's really impacted you that you would like to share with somebody?
Ooh, okay. Piece of advice, I would say trust your gut. Trust your gut. Everything. Learn to get intuitive with yourself. Learn to listen to yourself. Trust your gut. Your intuition is so strong, and when you start to lean into it more and more, you start to understand yourself and the world a little better. 9 times out of 10, it won't steer you wrong. And then as far as a book, that's a really good one. I read it a long time back and I can't remember to Who Moved My Cheese? That's what the book is called. It was a
Kids book?
really short Who Moved My Cheese? Yes. It was like a 70-page book. I literally finished it in like a day, and that was one of the most shortest effective like get your ish together books I ever read, and I was like, "Whoa, I did not expect this in 70 pages to flip my life upside down."
Yeah.
And it was for the better, and it was like a controlled experiment with like these mice talking about like trying to figure out how to get to the cheese and different paths they kept taking and different obstacles kept coming up and like how they handled it and went around it. And it was like, actually, I'm gonna start that one again. I'm gonna read that again right now while I'm in a fight. I'm so glad you asked that question because I remember, like, I don't remember specifically to tell you what the book's about, but I just remember it really hit my mindset of like you can keep doing the right, like moving towards the right thing, or you can keep making mistakes and prolonging your way. Like just shout out my teammate Corvan if he ever watches this. One of
Yeah.
my favorite quotes he told me a while back, not even a quote, it was literally just during training. We were doing jujitsu, took me down, I was stuck in a bad position. He told me like, hey, just keep moving towards the right thing. No matter like just a little bit. Just keep doing that. I told him recently, I was like, dude, I don't think you realize, like, I have applied that one little sentence to every aspect of my life. Like, just keep moving towards the right thing. So, that Who Moved My Cheese book, look into it. I'm going to reread
Yeah.
it as well. That was a really short, get it together book.
I like
And
that.
Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. That
Such
was
a
a good one.
simple message too, just to move a little bit. You don't need to do it all at
Just
once. It's a little bit closer every day, right?
Yeah, it's never going to be drastic change. It's like the whole thing about a bamboo plant. It takes years and years and years and there's nothing and then suddenly in 6 weeks it just boom, it just sprouts.
Yeah.
We are the bamboo plants.
I love that. That's cool. All right. Well, Kiana, thanks for your time. We're gonna hopefully tell people to like, subscribe, and share all that good stuff. And then
Yeah.
all right, dude, good stuff. We'll talk soon. I'll probably see you next week or the week after or whatever.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you for
Yeah,
your
take care.
time and all the
Bye.
great questions. I'm so inspired right now. I'm gonna go for a walk and ponder all
All
this.
right,
I'll
dude.
see you
Well, enjoy. All
around.
right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.